Have you ever wondered what separates your sounds from the top producers and songs? For years, I felt like there was still something missing and I was still unhappy with my own music. What I had forgotten is the importance of sounds, the ingredients you use to make music. I know you're tired and frustrated with buying plugins, VSTs, downloading random sample packs just to try to find the perfect sound. Well, I'm gonna show you the 3 sound design cheat codes that took me years of experimentation and research to learn. I will instantly upgrade your music. I'll also share a secret technique in each point. So if you're ready to create the sounds perfect for your songs, you won't want to miss any of these. For the longest time, I wondered why all my tracks sounded muddy and not as bright as mainstream music. I tended to love low-end sounds and tended to not choose high-end sounds. So this first point is all about frequency range. In creating sounds, it can feel really great to just make an instrument in isolation, and it might sound great there, but then in the context of the track, it might sound terrible. Maybe you love the sound itself, but then all of a sudden you're unhappy with the song as a whole. The secret to fix this is to create sounds based on the frequencies that are needed in your song. What do I mean by this? Well, you have low-end instruments, mid, and high-end instruments. Low-end might be drums and bass. Mid might be like your pianos, some of your synths, and your high-end could be some of your plucks and vocals. But the thing that holds a lot of people back is they might like creating plucks and they might love recording a bunch of vocals and they neglect the mid-range or the low-end range, or vice versa. And another mistake is making every single sound take up the entire frequency spectrum. So maybe you make a synth and it's super loud in the low, mid, and high range. Well, now what's gonna happen is now you keep creating more and more sounds and now the whole track just becomes muddy. So the secret technique that I use is to create a frequency space where I want each instrument to be. And I also make sure that each instrument only takes up a certain range. So if we look, we can EQ a sound that's mainly mid-range to just be mid-range. Now we have space to create another instrument, maybe a piano layer that sounds a lot different, and now I can layer those sounds together. With this, I'm eliminating excess frequencies, so my sound is not just gonna sound good in isolation, but it's gonna sound good in the context of the track. So as you can see, literally all I'm doing, figuring out where exactly I want that to be and changing it. And even in my project, before I even start, I have different folders for high-end instruments, low-end, mid, so I can keep track of how many are in each. If you wanna solve your music production quality and music career problems, I go deeper into all of that in the Modern Music Creator course. So make sure you check that out. The next point is to steal sounds. Now before you freak out, let's talk about it. I've had over 100 clients and most of them send me reference tracks for what they want their music to sound like. At first, it felt impossible to match exactly what they wanted. Maybe you have a favorite song or artist that you want to emulate. This cheat code is to start by creating the exact sounds they use. What's gonna happen is as you start to create these sounds, you're gonna learn a lot about sound design, you're gonna learn a lot about song structure, and what makes some of these producers so successful. Basically, what you're gonna do by making these sounds exactly is you're also learning the sounds that get results. And before you know it, after you've done this enough times, you can create your own sounds from scratch. You know exactly what works. So how do you do this? Well, first we need to look at the oscillator. So what kind of sound is it and how are we going to try to match that as closely as possible? Next, we wanna look at the filter. What range does that sound like it's mainly in? Is it kind of muffled? Is it kind of bright? So you can use a filter to create that. Next, you want to look at the envelopes, which envelopes, that's how you control the ASDR, which is attack, sustain, decay, and release. So that's basically how fast does it come in? How long does it sustain? Is there some kind of delay? And what does it sound like when it stops? Does it release really quickly? Next, you can use an LFO. So if there's some kind of repeating shape, then that's going to be achieved through an LFO. And finally, you can add effects to try to match it as close as you can. Now, the secret to this is once you've sound designed it exactly, you can add your own spin on it to make it unique. You want to imitate, then innovate. So basically what you're doing, you're starting with a sound that's already been proven to be popular and sound good, and then you're trying to make it even better for yourself. Once you have the exact sound, you can use the same steps to see what you can change to make it unique. So maybe you want to change the oscillator, make it sharper, or maybe just have a different kind of sound. You can change the filter, change the envelopes, add some cooler effects, really up to you. Real quick, make sure you guys subscribe. Helps me know I'm bringing value to you guys with these videos. The next thing is to layer sounds. For the longest time, I would scroll splice, download sample packs, and feel frustrated because I couldn't find the right exact sound for my track. For the longest, I would scroll splice, download sample packs, and feel frustrated when I couldn't even sound design the sound I wanted. This may happen to you, where you design a sound, but you still feel like there's something missing from it. The secret is to layer multiple sounds on top of each other. When combined, it's gonna give the listener a really unique experience because they might even hear it as one sound. You hear this all the time when it comes to things like EDM, where you have a synth and a chorus, and it kind of sounds like one instrument, but most likely they're stacking a lot of different kinds of synths together to make that one unique sound. So you can do this within one sound design where you add multiple oscillators, maybe different kinds of oscillators, and layer it that way. Or you can sound design separate sounds that add to each other. Or you could think of it as going back to our first point, how I talked about the frequency range. You could have different sounds that are great in each frequency range, have them play the same rhythm, and combine them. The secret technique I use for this one is to add different movement or effects to each layer. So what's gonna happen is, let's say I want 3 different sounds playing a chord. To the listener, it might sound like one sound because they're all playing at the same time. But if I add slightly different movement, suddenly it gets the listener a little bit interested. So again, we could think of things like release. We could change the rhythm a little bit of each layer. We can use an LFO to think about the kind of shape it makes. Even in terms of song structure, maybe the chorus has all of the layers together that sound like one sound, but then in the verse, you kind of drop some of those layers. So it sounds a little bit more minimal. And of course, different effects for each sound, maybe different reverb, different panning. So really just use some creativity here. The options are endless when you actually layer sounds. You can use these hacks in your track and I guarantee you'll hear a big difference. Before you know it, your tracks will sound exactly like the ones you love to listen to. For a full understanding of sound design, you need to watch this video next, so I'll see you there.